Well, thanks for being here. Great job by our guys today. These games are never easy, and you never take them for granted. LIU had a great season, so I definitely want to recognize that. And Rod's done an amazing job building that program back. I didn't realize the whole story till you kind of look at it, and that 3-year turnaround from where they were single digit wins to the NCAA tournament. That's pretty special. And college basketball can be pretty stratified, so I have lots of respect. For my colleagues and guys that coach in, some of those smaller conferences at our place like LAU, because you know what, it's just as hard or harder to win there than it is at Arizona. So I have a lot of respect for those guys, and I want to commend these guys and our players for coming out, and I thought they played really well today, and obviously we got off to a good start, and that really helped.
We're going to open it up to the student athletes, and make sure you direct your question to one or the other of the two. All right, we'll start over here.
Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. For Brayden and Koa, just so much has been made about the freshman class this year, and now you get your first opportunity to be in the tournament. How do you feel that this performance went, and just getting the ability to finally get to play in this tournament?
Yeah, it was great. We had a good team win today, and I'm just proud of our guys. We came out with good energy in the beginning of the game, and I thought we sustained that well during the game. And it's special to share the court with special freshmen like Yvonne, Brayden, and Dwayne and Ceedee for sure.
Kind of like what Koa said, but just great win. It's a great experience out there. First time now. I'm just ready to continue to just get better.
David Brayden with Camp Student Radio. Brayden, how much did the Big 12 tournament prepare you for the magnitude of March Madness?
I think it prepared me, just the one-and-done scenario, just take one game at a time, be where your feet is, and don't look too far ahead, don't look too far back, just, stay in the present.
Jacob Burries with UATV3 Student Media. Koa or Brayden, whoever, what's the mindset after a game like this? How do you move forward in the competition? How do you move forward with that mentality? Just go watch the game that is about to happen right now. Go prepare for that. Try to rest and recover, and just get ready for Sunday.
Haziel Richardson with the Daily Wildcat. Brayden, you got out to a fast start. What would you say that was working for you, and what the defense was giving you?
Just being in the right place at the right time. My teammates finding me. So thankful for them, and then just making shots. Honestly.
Koa, you were a 4-time high school champion in Arizona. Coach Lloyd said yesterday that for the freshmen, he wants you guys to compete like you're about to win another state championship. What does the compete level feel like on this stage compared to, those big stages you've played on before?
It's huge. Everybody's watching the games in March Madness, so it's definitely special for sure. But I've played in a lot of big games, so I feel like I'm pretty seized for the moment, and just ready to play in those big games, and just playing my hardest, and trusting my teammates.
Koa, Will Shanoa, the Daily Wildcat. You guys allowed 6 points in the first 6 minutes. What were some points of emphasis specifically on defense that allowed you guys to cause so much havoc for the offense?
I think it's just our preparation. Our green squad did a really good job of getting us prepped for the game. And, we were sitting on the LIU's tendencies. That's tough, especially, they got a lot of good players over there. So, but I thought we did good defensively, and, we just were together for sure on defense.
Brayden, did you feel like Long Island was trying to push you guys to try to take the threes and do whatever they could to mock up the paint?
Yeah, I think their game plan, I think, was just to close out short, just force us to shoot threes, and just hopefully they rebounded. Today we made our shots, and it worked. It was in our favor.
Any other questions? Okay, gentlemen, good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll resume with Coach Lloyd in the front.
David Veenstra with Arizona Sports. Tommy, yesterday Brayden told me that you had an early season meeting with him that kind of changed the trajectory of his season. What do you remember about that meeting, and how have you seen Brayden evolve throughout the year?
Well, we're meeting with the guys all the time, and I don't know what specific meeting, he's referring to, but, I just told Brayden, if I would have been predicting the future, like in September, how his season would go, I would have thought it would have played out just like it did. I thought it was going to take him a little time. I felt like he needed to get a few games under his belt. We knew how good he was and how talented he was because we're in the gym with him every day. But I thought he was going to need some game experiences and he was going to need to learn from them.
Gabby Chernoff, Cronkite News. Your 3 leading point scorers were all freshmen. What was your sense of their just readiness and competition level in their first appearance in this tournament?
Well, honestly, I don't look at them as freshmen. You know what I mean? I just look at them as really good basketball players. Those guys, they have high IQs, they have great character, and obviously they're talented basketball players, and they put the work in. So when you have that combination of elements, I don't think it matters what year you are in school. And, I would have been more surprised had they come out and been a little bit nervous today than play the way they did.
Jesus Garcia, KCR Radio. Both one seeds that played yesterday were involved in quote-unquote dogfights. Not sure if you watched any of their games, but how important was it to let the team know not to play down to the competition?
Well, listen, I don't think playing down to the competition is something that ever enters my mind. I have a lot of respect for our opponents, and I make sure our players do as well. I told our guys, these 116 games, you just don't know. And so obviously the objective is to win the game. So you can't get emotionally caught up if the game is close at half or anything like that. And the main objective is to find a way to get the win. And luckily we came out and we got a lead right away, and we were kind of able to carry that the rest of the game.
Even in a substantial margin like this, do you still think there are improvements that can be made on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball? Always
when you're talking to a coach. Yeah, it's the game is basketball is a game of a lot of random things happening, in succession, and there's a lot of mistakes made, and that's what makes it a beautiful game. And so there's always something to learn from. I feel like I'm learning. Every day, every week as a coach, I'm learning new things about the game of basketball, and that's one of the things I love is just the never-ending pursuit of learning.
Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. Ivan topped his rebounding record by 3, and just in general, the rebounding in this game, with knowing that Long Island was going to be taking a lot of shots at the rim, how important was it for guys to be closing out on those for the misses? Well,
it's really important. Rebounding's always an interesting thing. There's some old adages, long shot, long rebound, and there's some truth to that. Especially you get in this tournament with those new Wilson balls. Sometimes they bounce back a little further than you're used to. But there's another adage, short shot, short rebounds. So you got to be great on those. And so we work on our rebounding instincts every single day. We want our rebounding mentality to be more based off instincts than even habits, or techniques. And so something that we value and we work on it every single day.
Despite getting a huge...
Can you give your name and affiliation, please?
Will Chanel, Daily Wildcat. Despite getting a huge lead, how are you able to instill a philosophy in your players that allowed them to keep the intensity up throughout 40 minutes of the game?
Just encouraging them and understanding, you got to break the game into smaller segments. And when you're on the court, honestly, you shouldn't even worry what the score is. You should be playing possession by possession and honoring that aspect of the game, not worrying about what the overall score is.
Eric Newman, KG certified. Coach, what's it been like for you just carrying this proud tradition and mantle forward of Arizona basketball, which has been so prominent for 5+ decades now?
It's an honor, and that's a great question. I appreciate you saying that. Arizona basketball is not me. I'm a servant to this program, and I always remind our former players and our supporters, when I'm with them. And we had a get together. It would have been Wednesday night. Matt Othick owns a pizza joint in this area, and I think he told anybody that had any affiliation with the Arizona Wildcats to show up, because I was expecting a small little get-together of a few players. But, man, the place was hopping. So we took our staff and families out there, and it was great, to hang out with guys like Jed Bushler, Kevin Flanagan. These guys are great Wildcats, and they're the fabric to our program. So it's something that I don't take lightly. It's an honor to be at the helm of the program, and trust me, every day, I think about it's my job to honor and respect this program and move it forward in the direction that makes our supporters and our former players proud.
Jacob Burries, UATV3. In the past, you guys have struggled with foul trouble, and that wasn't the case tonight or today's game. What did you tell your team in order to not foul out or
I mean, I don't know if we struggle with foul trouble. I think the people we play against struggle with foul problems. I mean, that's how I look at it. But, fouls are going to happen, and, we have the depth to absorb them. When you're a physical team, there's going to be whistles, and sometimes they're not going to go away. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to foul. So you just have to play through it. And as the game plays out, if there's small adjustments you can make them. If there's, substitution patterns you have to change, you change them. So, the foul game is something that's really important to us, on both sides of, us, our personal fouls and our opponent's personal fouls.
And then my follow-up question was, there was a couple of possessions where you guys got the ball and you guys didn't have, you had an opportunity for a fast break, but you guys just slow it down. Is that something you want to change in later?
I mean, listen, I didn't tell our guys to slow it down, today at all. And, we did have, I know the specific point of the game you're talking about, we had 2 or 3 possessions where we kind of walked the ball up the court. I mean, for me, being able to get the ball up the court with tempo and pace, doesn't mean we have to do something quick, but it helps us initiate our offense. And so, getting the ball up with the right pace, affects something 2 or 3 passes later. And, so that's something that I always think about. So we just reminded our guys to continue to run, to continue to get into our flow as quick as we could. And our guys did a good job readjusting to that later in the second half.
David Meridian, Camp Student Radio. Coach, 3 consecutive games played in the Big 12 tournament and then a tight turnaround with a game here on Sunday. Can you speak to your preparations in the next 48 hours and also your thought process to keep the team sharp with another game on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I think that'll go without saying. Our guys know where we're at, and they know where we want to go, and they know what our purpose is. So I'm not worried about the focus not being there. I mean, listen, I want to get this press conference over, and I want to commend you young Arizona students. You guys are asking great questions. You guys are doing a great job. I love it. You guys should come to more of our stuff we do on campus instead of being out at Bob Dobbs or wherever you guys hang out at. Come to some press conferences. You guys are doing a great job. And but listen, I want to get this press conference over. I want to get back to the hotel, and I'm going to watch the game and start preparing. And we'll have a great afternoon of preparation today that'll lead into a strong day of preparation tomorrow, and hopefully a good performance on Sunday. We're just going to kind of take it hour by hour.
Last question right here.
Saul Bookman, PHNX Sports. At the end of the game for LIU, Eddie Munyak hadn't played at all this season. Yeah. Hits the bank 3. Obviously March means a lot to some of these teams. What did you think of that moment for him? I mean, listen, you feel good for that young man. I mean, that's an awesome moment in his life that he'll never forget. Yeah, I mean, college basketball is special, and I think in this NCAA tournament, there's a lot of amazing stories. That's what makes it great theater. And you also know, some teams advance, and we're a team on a mission. We are, but we also, have a team we played today that their season ended, and they've had a magical season, and then there's guys on that team that didn't get to play, very much. So for a kid like that to be able to put that in his back pocket and pull out the video with all his friends, down the line is going to be something really special. Glad I'm a part of it.